Okay, so here we have the sectioned version of the partings. I'm going to leave it like this so I can talk you through some of the main areas, key points. Obviously you've got the centre forehead, you have got the crown. If I just spin Elise around, I'll be able to show you the back. And what you have is your crown, the occipital bone, and obviously the nape. And they're your four main areas. When dealing with a haircut, technically you can start by cutting anywhere in there now, and then gradually you can take section by section all the way up to the crown, and obviously you can continue to follow that line. When you've worked every section up to the crown, you can then begin to do pretty much whatever haircut you would like. You can technically start around here and then build on any haircut. And this is the wonderful thing about hairdressing. You're actually separating the back from the front. And then when you do the haircut, you're technically connecting. Right, so what I'd like to do is talk about this part of the haircut that we're up to now. The sectioning pattern that we've done at the moment is to separate the back from the front. And what I consider to be the starting block of any haircut. Now, I know that what we're going to be looking at is classic haircuts. But what I'd like to touch on is the whole creativity of hairdressing, the passion. People say advanced haircuts. Well, advanced haircuts always start from classics. And when you've reached this point in a haircut and you've separated the back from the front, the options you have are endless. You can, I mean, just for example, you can take a section like that. Now, that doesn't look like very much. But what you've done is you've separated an area over here that you can do something completely different with here. And this is the point. Or you can go in at the occipital bone, come up, and take this section out, and what you have is a disconnection, plain and simple. So then you can just clip that out of the way and start to work down here. And this is what you need to, I think, when you qualify, when you learn the classics, it's important to get them nailed and perfect and correct. But then what I feel that you can do then is you can start to broaden your mind. And that's the wonderful thing about hairdressing. And that's why I wanted to spend this time doing the partings and sections. Because to me they're so important. But also for this reason alone, that they are the basics, the starting block for letting your creativity flow. So if we take this down, say for example we've done a disconnection here. And this out of the way. If I just spin you around at least so we can just see the side. What you can then do is you can take this down and you can work it across. You can look at connecting this side and bringing it up, remove a little bit of weight from the front. And then, although that's a disconnection, you can connect it if you want to and take all that out so that it falls. And that is the wonderful thing about hairdressing, in my opinion. Right, the section we're going to be looking at now is the horseshoe section. It's basically took from recession area to recession area all the way around. And like the section, that's the radial from the crown to the lower ear that separates the back from the front, this is separating the bottom from the top. It's a great section to use when doing gents cuts or pixie cuts, short styles. You know, it just enables you to work really cleanly, get some great lines underneath, and then you have a reference point to be able to connect to at any angle you like. So the way that I do a horseshoe section, if I just spin you round, is you get the reference point of the recession area and you just take it round. And then what you do is you just comb this up. Obviously with the hair being wet, it would be a lot easier and a lot more manageable. you just comb that up and you would clip that there. Following your line, you would continue to work it all the way round till you eventually get round to the other recession area, which is there. And then you just scoop all this hair up and clip it. And that is the horseshoe section. Right, so what we're going to be looking at now is sectioning patterns. We've done a lot on partings. We've pretty much covered every parting there is to get you going, to get you up and running and get you started. Now, the section that we got here is your profile section, and it pretty much runs where we took the central parting. You pretty much want about an inch, inch and a half, 2 inch max section, running from the front, obviously to the radial at the back. And if I spin Elise around now so that you can have a look, what we're going to do is a basic haircut, and it's what we're going to be touching on later in the DVD. If we do a section through the back, to there, to there, then we elevate. Now this again is the beautiful thing about hairdressing, because you can elevate this either straight out from the head shape or bring it right up 90 degrees and actually form one of the haircuts in this range. So now if we was to take this hair off here, what we have is a guide. And this is the important thing about hairdressing. I can't stress and emphasize enough the importance of a guide. Without a guide, you're technically blind. You're going through the haircut with no real direction. Your guideline is the most important thing, because if we had this guideline here, what I would then do, if I just lean Lisa's head back a little bit, I would then unclip this section and I would take a slight parting there, and with my guide, when I take it up, you would see this hair coming up and I would instantly know where to cut, and which I would follow that all the way through and perform one of the haircuts in the range. So that is the importance of very nice, neat sectioning, but most importantly, having a guideline that you follow.